I'm Tori, and I did really well this semester in my microbiology class with Dr. Rush, and I wanted to make a little video I say that like in every video that I start, I think I'm going to make a little video. Anyway, to show you guys what I did, some of my strategies, and some things that might be helpful. Some of the things you'll be able to use for any class, and so I hope that it helps some people. So I don't know if you've seen any of my other videos, but one of my main things that's helpful for me is my binder. And I have this huge binder that I absolutely love. I'm going to try to show it to y'all. I'm not very fancy with my technology stuff. So here I have this little file folder thingy that I would print the extra articles that she would give us during the year. And I also kept my syllabus in that to be able to keep track of stuff. So anything related to like the research paper, anything like that, I would keep in here, like all my little extra things. And then another thing I used a lot was Post-it notes. If I had a question about something in the slideshow, I would flag this. And whenever she would have her review sessions before each exam, I would have my questions to be able to ask and have them all marked and tabbed in here. This stuff that's in here now is only from exam 4, so you can see it's a huge amount of information, and this is only for exam 4. After every exam, I would clear out my binder. This is one of the most important things that helped me through the semester is this chart, and it's just titled Bacteria to Know. And it tells you everything, if it's gram positive, gram negative, or something different. It gives you the scientific name for each one and then tells you anything extra about it. One of my secret strategies is to write out charts. So I will just take a piece of paper and just write this out and just write it out. And after a while, I think I organized it to where I had all the gram positives on one side, all the gram negatives on the other. And I would just write it all over and over again until I could write it, the whole entire chart from memory. And after, I don't know, 30 times of writing it, you kind of start to get an idea of writing it. So just, even if your brain isn't working good and you're not in the mood to study, what the hand writes, the mind remembers sometimes. So that was a trick that I used for all kinds of things, but this was very important. I kept this in a page protector in the front of my book, and I just referred to it a bunch. I did not have the textbook in print, but I did, look how pretty. I did have the PDF, and so I would print it chapter by chapter. Towards the end for this last one, I did not print out all the chapters just because it was so much information, and I wasn't really looking at the book so much by that point. So, but I did have that. I did never even use this one. So what I did for most of the classes, I would print 2 to a page and then do it backwards so that I would hole punch it on this side so I can write on this side because I'm right-handed. And I would just write all of my notes or just summarize what she was saying as we went through that. Then you can see my tabs. So that's when I had a question, I would just make a note of my questions. Also, very important, highlight the things that she highlights when you go through, and that's 90% of what is on the test, I would say. So then I just had a page protector to divide each of my classes, chapters as I went through. And so that's kind of the general setup of my binder. I think that's pretty much everything you need to know about my binder. Okay, so other general tips that I would give you is I recorded all the lectures, the audio of all the lectures as I went through the class. I put my phone on airplane mode and just do voice note and obsessively make sure my phone was charged before class. Then I put all those into Dropbox for anybody else in the class, just because if I was already recording it, I would like to share my resources just if it can be helpful to somebody else. And then I knew that it was all safe in the cloud, and if my phone actually died between the first and second class, and I had to ask somebody else for the audio from the first class. So you see, if I would have had it in Dropbox by then, I wouldn't have had to worry about that. So it keeps it safe. One thing about this semester for me is that I had a commute where I was driving an hour one way 3 or 4 times a week, and so I kind of had this built-in 6 to 8 hours a week at least that I would listen to those lectures, and I would just listen to them. And the nice thing about having the recorded audio, especially when it was in my voice notes on my phone, is you can skip forward or back 30 seconds. And so if she was kind of, talking about something that I already understood, then I could just fast forward over that. So that was really awesome to be able to study. So I was just going to go through and tell you what I did kind of for each exam. And I also have a Google Drive folder with these resources in it that hopefully will be useful for you. So with the first exam, I was really nervous that I didn't have a good foundation, have a bit of a background with biology, but none of it was super fresh, especially like all of this, very deep, intricate stuff. And so I really spent a lot of time on the front end of the class. If I ran across something in the book or the lecture that I didn't understand, I would back up. I would go to, crash courses and watch videos about it, go to Khan Academy and just look it up on the internet and kind of go back and build that information back so I'd understand, so I could pick back up with where we were. Sometimes you have to go back a little bit to understand the concepts. So that's how I started off. I read everything in the book for the first exam. Everything that's in my Quizlet sets for the first exam, a lot of it comes from the book as well. It's not just from her lectures. I kind of went really deep with everything, with the information there. Then, let's see, I wrote notes for this because my brain is fried from taking this class. So find a way to work it into your life. For me, that was on my commutes. I would listen to it. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Covered all this. It's also helpful to skim the slideshow before class if your teacher puts out a slideshow before, if it's for a different class. And your teacher, most teachers, Dr. Rosh was very available with office hours. I wasn't able to make office hours because of my schedule, but if I would have needed that, or if anybody has questions or needs anything, please go see your teacher at office hours and talk to them about it, because you're paying all this money. I'm 32 going back to school, so like now I know, like, oh my gosh, this is my money. I'm paying for this class. I want to learn everything that's in it. And it's going to help you in your career. So you really want to focus on mastering the information and really learning it. Okay, office hours, blah, 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 writing out charts. Okay, so then for exam 2, the other thing I felt would be useful, I didn't spend as much time on making Quizlets, but someone else in the class picked that up and made the Quizlets for exam 2, and I have the link for that as well. But what I did was I just went and made a Word document and made an organizational chart for those chapters to help me understand sort of the organization of, the structure. The other thing, because structure helps you get the big picture and understand the concepts. The other thing I wanted to point out, let me find that ugly looking wing chapter out of the book. This was like a gold mine for me. So like, information builds on information. So if you don't understand what they're talking about in class, you're going to have to go back and learn some previous concepts, and you also have to get the big picture to build your information. So for example, this was something I found early on from reading the book, is that in the back of each book there's this amazing summary that has every single thing, not this chart, this summary. It has everything outlined from the whole chapter. So I would even suggest maybe reading over that first, just to get familiar with some of the terms that you're going to be running across and kind of get a big picture idea for the chapter. So that was really useful for me. Those were super, super helpful for me to understand the information. So that was exam 2. I made those organizational charts, which I also have in the folder. For exam 3, I did not make charts. I really focused on my Quizlets, and there's all kinds of amazing ways to use Quizlet. So I might make a separate video on how to do that, but I just figured out how to really utilize the Quizlet app and on the computer online, and it really forces you to interact with the material. And it's also helpful the way that you create your Quizlet sets. You want to be able to type out the term real easily and have, kind of set up your term and your definition properly so that the Quizlet sets will really help you study. I also figured out a way to make the Quizlet app read me all the Quizlet cards, so that was really cool too. I'm not going to say that I ever did that while I was driving. and I wouldn't recommend doing that, but if you're folding laundry or something, you can just hit play and it will literally read your cards to you. It's super cool. Okay, and then once we got into the end of the book, which was disease chapters, oh my gosh, y'all, disease chapters, it was like diseases, like all these, like, wow, that's why I have a headache right now. So diseases, yay, diseases. She dropped a hint in class that these charts would be useful, and like, I love my charts. So this has water damage, but that's because I have 4 kids. So anyway, something's bound to get spilled. Write out these charts, cut the charts up and assemble them back, looking at, print it twice and then cut it out and then assemble it. Anything you can do to see it, to touch it, to write it out, to hear it is going to help you study, and you just need that repetition. So some brilliant person in our class, another student, came up with the idea to make a PDF of all these charts. I was like, what? So she did the first chapter, which was respiratory illnesses, and then so I got the idea from that, and then we have them in the file for all the other ones as well. And then it has these nice charts of each individual thing, and then the first page will be the summary from the back of the chapter, the chart with the summary. And then you have all these wonderful diagrams and whatnot. So those are the charts. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. So there are people in your class who will be taking this. Sorry for the light in the window. There are people who are taking this class who are going into more of like the ecology, biology, sciences things, and then there's people going into health sciences. So be prepared to learn about the actual microorganisms and not just the diseases. Dr. Rush is a microbiologist. She is a marine biologist doctorate, so that is what she likes. So you're going to need to know all of that stuff too. Gosh, I think that's it. I can't think of anything else other than I have all the stuff online, and I hope that this was useful for some of y'all. And the research paper, you're probably going to need to ask for help to figure out how to do that, maybe from like the Writing Center or something. I haven't utilized that, but I already have a degree that has a minor in English, and I was still having trouble trying to figure out how to like work EBSCOhost and all that stuff. So anyway, ask for help, and I really think that that's it. My email address is toricarrier@gmail.com if you have any questions or suggestions or anything like that. It's TORYCARRIERE, and good luck studying. I hope your semester went well, and I hope that these tips are helpful for you.